Welcome to Bedtime Mom, where dreams begin and stories take flight.
The night begins with a soft glow, as if the stars themselves are leaning in to listen. The narrator's voice gently wraps around the listeners like a warm blanket, saying, "What if the creature you feared the most was the one with the gentlest heart? And what if a single glowing rose held the power to change an entire destiny?" A tender breeze seems to whisper through the scene as the narrator continues. Tonight we follow Lila, a brave young girl whose kindness shines brighter than moonlight, into a mysterious place known as Moonlight Castle. There, hidden behind ancient walls and drifting candlelight, a secret waits inside the petals of an enchanted red rose, a secret that could change everything. The soft music swells just enough to spark wonder, inviting children to relax and settle into the magical tale about to unfold. At a quiet village nestled at the edge of the Whispering Woods, Lila lives with her gentle father, Rowan. Their small cottage is filled with handmade wooden toys, star charts, and the scent of warm tea. Lila loves stories, especially the ones Rowan tells her at night, stories about forgotten forests and moonlit adventures. Beyond their village, however, lies a place people rarely speak of, a hidden castle deep within the woods, said to be alive with magic. Some claim it's guarded by a fearsome creature no one has ever dared to meet, but Lila has always believed that every story, even the frightening ones, hides a truth waiting to be discovered. One stormy evening, Rowan sets out on a short journey to deliver one of his inventions, promising Lila he'll return before sundown. But the rain grows wild, the winds howl through the trees, and when dawn arrives, Rowan has not come home. Worried and unable to sit still, Lila senses something is wrong. Meanwhile, far off in the depths of the Whispering Woods, Rowan has taken shelter inside an old castle that glows faintly under the moonlight. Exhausted and curious, he wanders into its garden and, without realizing the danger, plucks a single red rose, the very one said to hold an ancient enchantment. In that moment, the castle's guardian emerges. Alderon, a towering figure with a voice like distant thunder, misunderstood and feared by all who know of him. Rowan is caught, and a fate he cannot escape looms over him, setting the stage for Lila's courageous journey, one that will lead her straight into the heart of Moonlight Castle, where nothing is as it seems, and kindness becomes the key to unlocking every mystery. The forest was quieter than Lila had ever heard it. Even the birds seemed to hold their breath as she walked deeper into the Whispering Woods, clutching her cloak tightly around her. Each step carried her closer to the strange glow she seen the night before moonlight, reflecting off something far beyond the trees. She had been scared at first, but the thought of her father, Rowan, alone and possibly in danger, kept her moving. At last, the trees parted, and there it stood, Moonlight Castle. Its tall towers shimmered with a silvery glow, as if carved from pieces of the night sky. Lila's breath caught in her throat. She pushed the creaking gates open and walked inside, calling softly for her father. Moments later, she found him frightened but unharmed, standing before a towering figure, Alderon. His shadow stretched long across the stone floor, his voice deep but steady as he accused Rowan of stealing a rose from his garden. Lila stepped forward, trembling yet brave. "Please, take me instead. Let my father go." Alderon stared at her for a long moment, surprised by her courage. Slowly, he nodded. Her journey inside the castle's mysteries had begun. Lila's first morning in the castle felt like waking inside a dream. Soft lights floated along the hallways, guiding her steps. Doors opened with gentle sighs, as if welcoming her. Even the paintings seemed alive, some whispering tiny stories when she walked past. Although the castle itself felt warm, Alderon kept his distance. He moved quietly through the halls, as though trying not to frighten her. During their first meal together, he sat at the far end of a long table. Lila noticed how he tried to hide his claws beneath the tablecloth, and how carefully he spoke, choosing his words like precious stones. She realized he wasn't angry or cruel, only lonely. Later, Alderon showed her the castle library. The moment she stepped in, books fluttered off the shelves, circling her like birds greeting a long-lost friend. Lila laughed, the sound echoing through the grand room. Alderon watched her, his expression softening. Over time, he grew braver, telling her stories of the moon, of forgotten spells, of the days before the curse. Lila listened with gentle patience, and for the first time in many years, Alderon felt seen. Not as a monster, but as someone with a heart still trying to heal. One quiet evening, Lila wandered through the castle until she reached a hidden chamber she had never seen before. At its center stood a glass dome, and inside it, a single glowing rose floated as if held up by magic alone. The petals shimmered with soft red light, pulsing like a heartbeat. When Lila leaned closer, Alderon appeared behind her, his voice barely a whisper. "This rose is the heart of my curse." He told her of the night long ago when he had been a proud young prince who cared more for praise than for kindness. One evening, a moon spirit visited the castle disguised as a traveler seeking shelter. Alderon dismissed her cruelly, mocking her worn cloak and dusty shoes. In truth, she was testing his heart, hoping to find compassion within him. Instead, she found only arrogance. Angered and saddened, she placed a spell upon him. His body transformed into the fearsome creature he now was, and the castle fell into magical stillness. Only if he could learn to love and be loved in return before the last rose petal fell would the curse break. As they watched, a small petal loosened and drifted down. Time was running out. Days passed, and Lila and Alderon grew closer, finding comfort in each other's company. But one morning, a message from the village arrived at the castle gates. Rowan had fallen ill, too weak to stand, too fevered to speak. Lila's heart tightened with worry. She rushed to Alderon, her voice trembling as she explained her father's condition. She knew leaving might mean breaking the delicate bond they had formed, and with every petal that fell, the danger grew. But she couldn't abandon her father. Alderon listened silently. The sadness in his eyes was deep, almost ancient. "You may go," he said softly, though each word sounded like it fractured something inside him. "Your father needs you." Lila wanted to promise she would return, but fear held her tongue, fear that she might be too late. She rode back home through the same woods she had braved before, but this time the trees seemed heavier, the air colder. When she reached her village, she rushed into Rowan's arms, caring for him with all the love in her heart. Yet even as she tended to him, her thoughts kept drifting back to Alderon and the sorrow she had left behind in Moonlight Castle. As Rowan recovered, Lila felt a quiet ache deep within her chest. The castle's long halls, Alderon's gentle voice, the glowing rose, all of it tugged at her thoughts until she could no longer ignore it. One night, she stepped outside and looked toward the whispering woods. The moon hung low, glowing faintly red. Her breath caught. She remembered Alderon's warning. When the rose neared its end, the moon itself would reflect its fading magic. Without hesitation, Lila ran, her cloak flying behind her as she raced toward the castle. Branches scratched her arms, wind stung her eyes, but she didn't stop. When she arrived, the castle was eerily silent. The rose, now dim, had only one petal left. Alderon lay in the garden, weak and fading, with the curse tightening around him. Lila fell beside him, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I care for you," she whispered, "not for who you were, but for who you are." As her words touched the night air, the final petal fell and then burst into brilliant light. The ground trembled, the curse shattered like glass. When the glow faded, Alderon stood before her, human once more, tears in his eyes. He took Lila's hand, whispering, "Your kindness saved me." The castle bloomed with life again, restored by love stronger than any curse. As the magic settled gently over Moonlight Castle, a peaceful hush filled the air, as though the walls themselves were sighing in relief after years of waiting. The gardens bloomed with colors Lila had never seen before: soft blues, glowing golds, and roses so bright they looked like tiny sunsets resting on their stems. Alderon, now returned to his true form, stood beside her with gratitude shining in his eyes. He wasn't the lonely guardian she had first met, nor the cursed prince burdened by regret, but someone renewed by the simple power of kindness. Lila felt warmth bloom in her heart, knowing that love, gentle, patient, and courageous, had healed what fear once broke. Together, they walked through the castle halls that now echoed with laughter instead of silence, light instead of shadows. Lila knew she would continue visiting the castle, sharing stories and moments of joy, and Alderon knew he would never forget the girl whose heart had saved his life. And so, as the moon rose high above the shimmering towers, the narrator's voice softens once more, like a lullaby drifting across the night. "Remember, dear dreamers," the voice whispers, "it is kindness that turns darkness into light, courage that opens hidden doors, and love that transforms even the deepest sorrow into something magical." The soft glow of the moon fades, encouraging sleepy eyes to close. "Good night, little ones," the narrator murmurs. "May your dreams be gentle, your hearts be brave, and may you always find magic wherever kindness grows."